Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Blitz here, back with another video, and today we're going to take a trip down memory lane, and I'm going to talk about how I first got into Destiny. Now, I didn't get Destiny when it first came out. I probably got it a week or maybe 2 weeks after it was released, and I already had a couple friends who were already playing, so they kind of helped me throughout the story and helped me level up. So I thought when I first played when I first heard of Destiny, I thought it was gonna be like a really serious kind of game, and it is kind of serious, I guess. And what I mean by that is they're talking about they had raids and they had nightfalls and collecting loot. I was like, this game is gonna be a very grindy type of game, and it is. And I thought the raids were gonna be super serious, like only the top good people were going to be able to do it. And then Nightfalls, back then when you lost and you went back to orbit, you had to restart the whole strike over. I kind of thought it was going to be super difficult, like almost like a mini raid, but you get sent back to orbit, which is that kind of sucks. But anyway, I played through the story, got to level 20. I had a few friends who quit playing Destiny when they got to around level 28 because they couldn't get through the raid, or just they couldn't find anybody to help them. And I think at the time people were just trying to find the best players to play with, and nobody was really helping anybody at the time. And that's just from my experience. I don't know if that's how it actually was. And when I first did the raid, which was Vault of Glass, I never ran through it from the beginning to the end. Whenever I did Vault of Glass, I always did it with my friend, because he would be the one to find us a group, and he only wanted Atheon checkpoint, either on normal or on hard. So whenever I did the raid, I would do it with him, and I only did Atheon. I never did Templar. I never did the Oracles or the plates at the beginning to raise the Spire. But anyway, over time, I did start doing those parts of the raid, just like little bit by little bit. And then at one point, me and my two friends, we tried 3-manning just the beginning part of the raid. This was when level 30 was still the light cap, and we failed over and over again. And then one day we actually did it, and we got through, and we got the shards and energies from the chest room. Now what? We can't do anything else. So that was just a nice fun experience for that. The reason why he only wanted to do Atheon on hard was because he wanted the Vex mythical class, and also we looked for the exotic chest checkpoint, which over time we started getting the checkpoint more and more often, and then we gave the checkpoint out to a lot of other people. So we were kind of like helping others by giving them the chest, since we really didn't want to run the raid all the way through. And by that time we had all the weapons, so we really didn't care to run the raid. We just went, got the checkpoint, and then gave it to everybody else. At the time, I want to say a huge fan of Crucible, but I did play more than I guess most people would, because I think my Crucible rank was like 7, and then all of my friends was still 1 or even 0. So they were just like, how did you get your rank up so much? And I was like, I played Crucible because I kind of liked it. It wasn't really my favorite, but I enjoyed it. And they just said they couldn't enjoy it because it was just, there's no balance to the weapons, and there's a lot of lag and all this other stuff going on with it. And nothing really special about Crucible. I did enjoy seeing like exotics drop for people on the reward screen. I think now, I don't know if they took that out or not. I haven't really seen someone legit get an exotic weapon drop since then, because I know one time I got Hard Light one match, and then the next match I got Plan C, And then I've seen people get Truth. I've seen someone get Galahorn or Yalahorn, whichever way you call it. I've seen plenty of exotic weapons drop. So that was one of the exciting things about playing Crucible, was the chance of getting an exotic, even if you sucked and came in last place. Moving on to not House of Wolves, Dark Below. I don't think I reached level 30 by the time I keep saying House of Wolves, by the time Dark Below came out. I think I was maybe 28 or 29 when it dropped. And as soon as it dropped, I got it a couple days after it came out. And me and my friend went through the story together. We did the strike and everything. And it was pretty interesting. I liked that I didn't really know much about Destiny's lore at the time. So when they were showing the Grimoire and talking about the story with Crota and everything, I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. This could make this, you know how everyone's saying, where's all this lore in the game? Why isn't it in the main story? And I always wondered that too. When I said this would make a great story, a great movie probably, or whatever. But anyway, I think the first Nightfall that we did for Dark Below, it was Fogoth in the summoning pits, and we sat back in that room, not where the Shrieker is, but the room before that, and we sniped Fogoth from back there. I was a little under light, so I really couldn't do much damage, but I still helped out, and I got Dragon's Breath as the reward for that, and I was pretty excited because Dragon's Breath was the new exotic for the game, and I felt like, oh, not a lot of people might have this weapon yet, so I feel kind of special that I got Dragon's Breath. And I think a week or maybe 2 weeks after that, Xur decided to sell it, and I was just like, well, there goes me feeling special. But the raid, I really did enjoy Crota's Inn. It's probably at the time one of my favorite raids because it was the only raid that I ran through all the way. And to be honest, the Crota raid was pretty much a one-man raid with 5 other people backing him up, because technically all you needed was a hunter to run through the lamps. You needed a hunter to cheese the bridge. And that's another thing about Crota's raid. There were just so many glitches, and you could cheese a lot of things about it that a lot of people said that it wasn't fun because you could cheese it. And I was just like, if you do it legitly, it's fun. Or even if you cheese it, I think it was still kind of fun because it saved you time, and you still had to beat Crota legitly. And I really didn't get in a fire team with people who cheesed the lamps at all. It's mainly the bridge that was cheesed. And so yeah, all you needed was a hunter to fly across the bridge with the sword, and you needed a hunter to defeat Crota while you just sat back and shot rockets or whatever at his shield. So still, I thought it was pretty fun. When hard mode came out, that was really challenging because, one, there was no Chalice of Light, so you couldn't get any of your health back. That's when Red Death really became important, and some helmets since I main Warlock, so my helmets came in handy. But at the same time, I was a Sunsinger Warlock, so that means I didn't really pop my super that often. Therefore, if I picked up an orb, or I couldn't really pick up an orb because my super was full already. But other than that, it was a pretty good raid. My first raid, I got Black Hammer. I almost said Black Spin. I got Black Hammer, and I got the Hunger of Crota. So I was pretty happy about that, because a lot of people wanted you to have a tracking rocket launcher, and a lot of people were like, you need to have Galley to do whatever. But they said, oh, you have Hunger of Crota. Hunger Quota has tracking on it. Okay, then you can join us. I was like, okay, cool. Black Spindle was helpful for when you cheese the bridge and you have to kill the ogres from across the bridge. And also it helped a lot when you're doing strikes with the bosses that had big crit spots. And also Black Hammer didn't use any of your ammo like Black Spindle does, but that's why they fixed it. Now moving on to House of Wolves. This was during my senior year of high school, so during the time we were getting ready for graduation and we're practicing or having graduation practice, and all my friends who still played Destiny at the time, we all bought it the day it came out. So when we got home from practice, we played the story missions, went through all of that, played the strikes. We did Prison of Elders, and I really enjoyed Prison of Elders. Oh, well, I somewhat enjoyed it. The only annoying thing was Varix and having to dismantle mines, destroy mines, and then the important target. And at the time, our leveling and everything, we were even or we were slightly under level, so it wasn't as easy as it is now. And then the only thing that really made me mad was because I could not get Queensbreaker's bow, or I couldn't get Dreg's Promise. I got Lord of Wolves once. Recently I got it twice because now it just drops in the Challenge of Elders. But I think I've only defeated Skolas twice, maybe 3 times. I don't know. I remember spending hours just trying to beat him. Like me and my friend would 2-man it all the way up to Skolas, and then we would start inviting people to come help us beat him. And it was just insane and just difficult because me and my friend, we did not have galley, and most of the people that we invited to the game did not have galley, so it was just very stressful. But this is where like Black Hammer or Icebreaker came in handy, or even the Vision, the Glass Scout Rifle, that came in handy too because of solar burns and whatnot. Or even if it wasn't solar, it was easy. It was easier to take down his health, but at the same time, he could pretty much kill you in one shot. If it was Void or Arc, it's not much of a problem for taking damage from Skolas, but you didn't do as much damage to him, and then also the minions and everybody did more damage to you because the fallen weapons are Arc. And then Void wasn't really a problem. It was just the ghost servitors. If they started shooting at you, then that can sometimes be a problem because they hurt. A lot of times we will always mess up at the devouring light part. It was always someone or whoever was the next person to take the essence off of somebody died, so we couldn't really exchange it. So that's why I always had to run Sunsinger Warlock, because in case I wasn't able to pass it on to somebody else, I could just die and then self-res. So it just made it a lot more easier. I think the first time we beat him, it was me and my 2 friends. We had Bubble. I don't even know what my other friend was. We had a Defender Titan. I was a self-res Warlock, Sunsinger, and I don't know what my friend was. He might have been a Blade Dancer, so he can go invisible and whatnot. But I know me and my Blade Dancer friend, we both died. Our last friend shot a rocket at Skolas, while Skolas shot a rocket at him, and they both killed each other. And we thought, oh man, we're gonna have to restart this. but it ended up letting us stay in, and it told us how we defeated him, and we were just excited and happy about that because that was our first time beating him. And now that I think about it, I forgot that Skolas dropped primary weapons, and I think the primary weapons had different elemental damages on them. I think my friend got the auto rifle, and then that was the first and last time I've seen a weapon drop from Skolas. And then also with House of Wolves, Trials of Osiris came out, and we thought when they said Trials was going to be a very serious and competitive game mode, we were thinking, okay, so you got to get this passage to play Trials. So where do you get the passage from? Oh, well, I think you got to be really good in Crucible, and if you do really well, Brother Vance will call you back to the reef, and he'll give you the passage, and then you can go do Trials of Osiris. But it wasn't like that. Anybody could do Trials of Osiris. You had to just get the passage from Brother Vance. And we're just like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, we're not going to be mad about that. I just thought it was going to be more of a seclusive kind of event. But other than that, Trials was, at the time, was really easy and really fun. Like, there, no problem. You could use pretty much not any weapon, but I feel like a lot of the weapons were somewhat balanced during the year 1 trials. And I don't joke when I say this, but I've almost gone flawless almost 100 times. I've gone 8-0, and it'll be our last game, and we'll lose that game, and then we'll lose the next game, and we'll be 8-1 or something. Or we will be 8-0, and we already have a loss, and then we'll just run into this sweaty team, and we're just like, all the teams that we've faced have either been under average or been at equal skills as us. And it's just the last game we always play is always going to be the sweaty tryhards, people who've gone flawless more times than anybody. So that was probably the only problem for me, is not being able to go flawless. And even now, I have yet to go flawless. I think maybe I'm at like 150 8-0s and still no flawless. And everybody that I play with now, because now they have all these websites that track your progress, and they look you up before playing with them, and they're like, oh wow, you haven't gone flawless yet? Look at your KD and how many games you've played and your win-loss ratio. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what happens. But I can also blame that on my connection. Not really as much, because we'll be like 4-0 or 5-0, and then I'll get kicked from the game because of my connection, and then I'll end up with a loss. It's not really that bad. It's not like I was 8-0 and I got kicked, but at the same time, that still plays a factor. Like, that moment could have been the time that I went flawless, but I got kicked. And then sometimes I'll lag in the game, and everybody says, oh, your connection's bad and you're going to be lagging for the other team. Not necessarily. For me, when I lag, it lags for me, and for the other person, it just looks like I'm standing there or whatever. I'm not really shooting you back at them. From time to time, my shots will connect, and other times when they don't connect, I already know I'm going to get kicked from the game. But I know at one point, I changed my name to my Xbox gamer tag to The Trials, because I was really good at it, and a lot of people always invited me, and they're like, oh, your name is The Trials, you must be really good. And I'm like, yeah. And then we'll play, and I'll have like almost 10 plus kills in that Trials game, even if we win or lose, because it also depends on who your teammates are. I can't carry a team by myself. I need at least one other person to be right beside me when we play. But other than that, I really did enjoy Trials. It was a new experience, very competitive, And then when year 2 trials came out, that's just it ruined everything. I just really couldn't do it anymore. There were just so many tryhards, so many new weapons, and all this other stuff. And then Night Stalkers and Sunbreakers. I haven't really had a problem with Stormcallers. It's just Sunbreakers are hard to kill. Night Stalkers just suppress you. And if I had to say something about Stormcallers, it would just be they can kill you really quickly if you're not paying attention. Because a Sunbreaker can pretty much hit you from a distance. Stormcallers have to be like right there next to you. And also Night Stalkers can get you from a distance as well. But other than that, I really didn't do trials a lot in year 2 because, not because of the super, it's just because the playstyle and everything changed. And they nerfed and buffed certain things, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I did it from time to time, but that was just to complete the bounties. And then on to Taken King. By this time, you either had a Xbox 360, which I didn't mention. I did The Dark Below and House of Wolves, and in the beginning of the Taken King on the Xbox 360, and I moved to an Xbox One in March sometime. But yeah, by then you either had a 360 or you had a Xbox One. Most of my friends had already quit Destiny because by this time we were all in college, and a lot of them didn't want gaming to take up their school time, which makes sense because Destiny is like I said, you gotta grind, you gotta do all this other stuff to play. And since I didn't go off to school, I stayed home, and I'm going to school from where I live. I have time to do my schoolwork and also play a little bit of Destiny on the side. So for the whole beginning of Taken King, which I can thank my girlfriend, she's the one who bought me Taken King for my birthday. I played all the way up until I was 280. I played by myself, and then I finally found this small group of friends who I joined with them, and I started playing alongside them, and then we did the raid together. When the raid first came out, I don't think I did it for like a week, and then a week later we went in. We got through everything very smooth, very simple. Took us about 2 hours just to get to Oryx, and it took us maybe 3 to 4 hours on Oryx, and we still didn't beat them. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. We're still trying to do Oryx. I think it was everyone knew what they were doing except for one guy. Because he doesn't like run or being torn. Even though you choose who's torn during the Oryx fight, we almost had him. We almost killed him one time, but then something happened. Oh, you know how you have to, the person who's gonna be taken or torn jumps onto the platform first, then the person who's gonna be on that platform jumps after him. So the guy who didn't know what he was doing, he jumped up there first before the actual runner was supposed to jump up there. And it was like our last run to beat Oryx, and we told him, okay, you got this, just jump on the platforms, don't fall, you got this, blah blah blah. And he ran, and he only got halfway through, and he fell off, and we were just like, crap. But that 3 hours, and then someone messes up like that, and it was just really annoying. But at the same time, everyone has to learn from somewhere. But after that, same thing with Volley Glass. I only did Atheon because I really didn't know how to do the other parts, and because everyone always had an Atheon checkpoint, so I really didn't care to do all the other parts of that raid. With Kingsfall, it was, I'm going to do the whole entire raid up until Oryx, and then I'm going to stop, because whenever we try to do it, we can never complete it. So why beat Oryx when I get all this other good loot from these other bosses? So over time we did that, blah blah blah, and then I finally beat Oryx. And then week after week I beat him more and more times, run through the whole raid, beat him. And then hard mode came out, did the raid all the way up to Oryx. Didn't do Oryx on hard because I couldn't. We couldn't beat him. Someone was always messing up, and we also had people who are slightly under light level are trying to do it, and we just keep losing. When challenge mode came out, all the challenges were easy. I think Golgoroth was kind of confusing, but other than that, I think we got that down. Maybe not the first time Golgoroth was the challenge, but the second time we did it, and I finally beat Oryx on hard when we had to do the Oryx challenge, which that's what I told the people who were in my fire team. I was like, I never, after you kill Oryx and then he pops back up in the front and you gotta run up and start shooting him in the chest and whatnot. As we were running up to go kill him, I was like, I've never beat Oryx on hard, and this is my first time doing the challenge. And you're like, oh wow, that's pretty amazing. And I was like, yeah. But other than that, that was pretty much my Kingsfall experience. Nothing really special. The jumping part with the ships was kind of difficult at first, especially in hard mode when you don't have a little checkpoint platform. And then I think my friend started playing the Taken King around December, and then he quit because he didn't have anybody to play with. Because at the time, I finished a lot of stuff already, and I really wasn't playing as much. So I went on a Destiny break from about January to March-ish. Like just maybe a week or two before the April update came out. That's when I started back playing. But then yeah, I got an Xbox One. I then joined a Destiny Discord server, which was pretty dead, honestly. There's maybe like 45 people in that server, and only 4 of us were talking. And over time, or after a while, the server owner came back, and we started getting the server organized, and me and the 2 other people who were talking the server became a mod, because he said we were the ones keeping the server alive since it was dead and since he was gone. So we got the server back together, and now we're almost at 850 members in that server, which is pretty good. Then the April update came out, which the Challenge of Elders came out, and there's nothing really to say about that. It's just Prison of Elders with a challenge. It wasn't difficult. We did get good gear from it. It helped your light level go up. Nothing really special happened after that. The news about Rise of Iron, that was interesting, like the leaks of the posters, and then the trailer, the live streams, all that stuff happened over the summer. And then now here we are today with 4 days away. Well, from when I recorded this, we're 4 days away from Rise of Iron, and I'm really excited for it. I'm more excited for Rise of Iron than I was for Taken King, because even though I was interested in the lore of the Hive, I was more interested in the lore of the Iron Lords, and I feel like this DLC will be more in depth of that. And I just can't wait to see what they're gonna bring. And also, we get a new social space, and like they said, it's a new experience because you're fighting in the social space and you're fighting to take it back. And then all the new gear that looks very interesting. And I think what makes it more interesting is because it's on Earth, and we've been on Earth since the beginning of the game. So it's like we've explored everything, and there's just these little tiny parts here and there that we're not able to explore, and now we're actually going out to explore. It's like an expansion to the Earth that we've been patrolling for the last couple years. But with Taken King, they just added a whole new area on Saturn, which one you really couldn't use you couldn't use a sparrow at all there, and you had to run and walk around everywhere, and it wasn't really, I guess, very a sightseeing place, if that makes sense. It was just more a crash ship with trash and debris everywhere, and then you go inside to where Court of Oryx was, and that was pretty interesting. But at the same time, it was just you had to follow a path, because if you don't follow the path, you'll fall off into the abyss of the ship and whatnot. So it wasn't really like you were able to explore a lot of places. You had to like follow a path. But besides that, I really can't wait for Rise of Iron. So that was pretty much my journey since I first started playing Destiny to where we are now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's kind of long, but that's just what happens when you're talking and you don't really edit out any parts of when you're talking. But if you guys did stay and enjoy, please leave a like and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see any more of my content. I will leave the Discord server information in the description. If you guys want to join that, you'll be able to talk to me and a bunch of other people who also like and enjoy playing Destiny. Yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thank you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next video.
Dropping bass like a motherfucking atom bomb.